great, Ray. Good to see you again after a long break. Well, I think that's the question I get asked the most is where did the name come from? And it's named after my mother. It's an abbreviation of her middle name, Annunziata, and my Italian mother. So I think that she lit up like a Christmas tree when I told her I was naming the brand after her. And it was difficult to come up with a name because of the regulations that we live under producing alcohol. And so I had to make something up. Ziata was founded in 2008. That was my first vintage with about 200 cases of Sauvignon Blanc and a few hundred cases of Pinot Noir. I think probably a little of everything. I think that we just have, I think we're smarter about our farming and can be creative in difficult times with climate. So yeah, I think in general it's a mix. Yeah. I'm sad that we're losing our first generation founders, and so that's the sad part. But there's the next generation of vintners coming up, so it's all good. Yes, I think that the reality of selling wine is always the hardest. I'm sure every wine producer will tell you that, but I didn't think about it. I just had been working in the Cakebread family for so many years. I felt like I was pretty comfortable in the wine business. And when I started my own brand, I sort of didn't think too deeply about it. I just woke up one morning and said, this is what I need to do, because I just love being involved in every aspect of the process from the vineyard to the table. I didn't say it was easy. I mean, I think that I didn't overthink it. Yeah. Otherwise, I probably would not have done it. I'd like to say I'm brilliant at marketing, but I didn't really do any market research. I said, this is what I want to make, and this is what I'm going to do, and I just did it. And we just put the 2022 vintage in the barrel. So that's all. It's hard to believe that it's been that long. Well, it was a bit of a crazy year. Yeah. I'm sure you probably have heard. We sort of divided into, there was the harvest before the heat spell and the harvest after the heat spell. So because I have Sauvignon Blanc here at my home vineyard, I'm always picking early August anyway, or early to mid-August. But everything was coming in quickly. I was finished with Pinot Noir by September 1st, and that's never happened before. Really? And so we were on a path to be finished with harvest probably mid-September. And then we had a heat wave.
Just a little heat wave.
A major heat wave for, 100 plus degrees for, several 7 to 10 days. And then followed by a rainstorm. So, Mother Nature, that's the beauty of this business, is that you just never know what she's going to throw at you. Learning about how to farm better through the years is we can manage those major events in the weather during the harvest. So I would say it's, there's the before and after. I did pick my Bordeaux reds after the rainstorm. So I think the flavors are there. Interestingly enough, I was worried about picking the Pinot Noir too early. But we went out in the vineyard and tasted the fruit, and it was ready. So you just have to go by how it tastes and about the chemistry, and not worry about the date. For me, I loved walking in the vineyards as we get close to harvest and just tasting the flavors, and then tasting them on a regular basis, and then you just see it all come together in that magic point of it's time to pick. Well, it's fun because that's how I remember vintages, is by walking through the vineyards and tasting the fruit and paying attention, obviously, to the weather and all of the things that go around that. But this was a little bit of a wild vintage as far as weather and trying to get everything in early when it was ready. There was Pinot Noir was coming in before Chardonnay, and it was just all kind of turned upside down. But I was worried more about getting the fruit to the cellar. If there was enough labor in the vineyards to deal with this fast-paced harvest. So it was we did it, and the wine is beautiful, and the flavors are there, the acidity is there. You know, I think it's going to be a great vintage. I have great contracts with several growers. Every year we do an appreciation lunch for them after harvest in November. And it's just a great time to sit around the table and break bread, and everybody gets to taste all the wines. They've all touched that wine in some way. And the first year I did it, they said, this is really fun. Can we do this every year? So I do. And I'd send them away with a little gift packet of wine to enjoy. But that's the foundation of making wine, is those relationships with the growers and the vineyards that you work with. And that's where I pay a lot of attention to, and building those relationships and maintaining them. Well, I always approach it when I'm looking for a varietal or another vineyard to add to a varietal, say the Sauvignon Blanc or the Mia Madre blend, Cabernet blend. I always am looking for long-term relationships, and as I said, it's like dating for the first year when you get together with a grower and you work together for a year and see if everybody is, if the synergy and everything is there, and then you get into a longer-term relationship. So I go into it thinking long-term. And if something doesn't work out, then you say goodbye and you move on. But that's usually not the case. I'm pretty lucky in that way, and it is word of mouth. It is just knowing people. I've been in this valley for almost 35 years now, so it's hard not to know people. Yeah. And you know who to call when you're looking for fruit. I don't look in the ads for fruit. It's definitely, yeah. And it's just finding growers that have the same passion for quality as we do for making the wine and the end product. And those are the people that are fun to work with. I'm hands-on as far as getting out in the vineyards, but our growers don't really need a lot of hand-holding because they're farming for quality. Yes, Jennifer Williams, my winemaker, is in the vineyard all year long, and she calls the shots on when to pick. So it's a combination of the two of us. I'm more, from my perspective, I like to just go out and get a sense of what's going on in the vineyard, but she's driving the ship. I am part of those, definitely part of those sessions. So Jennifer and I, and now we have a director of winemaking in our facility that we use. So we sit down together as a team and with the assistant winemaker. So there's a group of us now that sit down and work on the blends together. That's fun for me. I'm always a little intimidated sitting around the table with winemakers and working on blends, but I always come out knowing more than I thought I knew. So it's like I still am gaining that confidence of being a winemaker, right? But it's fun. It's amazing how a little drop here and there can change the flavor profile of the wine. My website is ziatawines.com. My contact information is there. If they reach out to me by email or by phone, we can set up an appointment.